Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 232, and I'm your host, the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Before we get into the movie discussion tonight, let's go around and meet our fellow bros. We begin with our legal counsel, Ronnie Cycli. Ronnie, what'd you get me for Christmas this year?
It's the same gift I get you every year. Divorce papers. We need you to sign them. It's becoming
don't have a pen. I would love to sign them. I don't have a pen.
Then what's your excuse for e-signature? Because there's plenty of emails I've sent you on DocuSign.
You know I don't trust the internet, bro. That's not going to catch on. It's not. I'm not into fads or trends. I'm into shit that is here to stay. And the internet is definitely not one of those.
Well, I'll have it nice wrapped in a bow for you this time. So I'll just come with my own pen.
All right. Well, it's definitely not because I'm still in love with Rachel, my ex-wife. So, all right. Now we move into the lab to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Banner, what'd you get me for Hanukkah?
Wait a minute. I have to get you like 7 things and he only has to get you 1? That's fucking bullshit.
It's like 7, 8 little things.
It's not like tiny things.
Tiny little cute. Get him a pen. That would help my predicament.
No, I don't need a pen.
Did you guys know that 95% of all ballpoint pens don't get used to their fullest potential?
Wow. Just like our brains. That's amazing.
I don't think we use 95% of our hearts or something like that to that degree. Does that mean that you don't use all the ink, or it's like, man, there's just so many greater things that you could do with this pen and like you don't do it?
All the ink runs out, maybe the ink doesn't run out. You lose it, maybe the ink dries up, it doesn't get used to the full potential. How many times do you use a pen all the way down to where there's no ink left?
I was gonna say, it's wild you say that, because all the fucking time do I have a pen that doesn't work.
See, 95% of all ballpoint pens do not work to their fullest potential.
Keeping the statistic.
No,
but also, how many has lost get someone borrowing a pen and never gives it back?
See, again, that's another one. But see, I would still say that pen has the potential to get used to the fullest potential by the second owner.
Okay, but is the question 95% of the pen isn't used by its original user, or just in general?
Just in general.
Wow.
They get lost. They get in the seats in the cracks between your seats or your couch. Tell me the last time you used all the ink in your pen.
I want to know the same statistic for a pencil.
I love pencils. Got one right here.
I think pencils. I think pencils. See, I don't think they get used to their fullest potential either. You don't go all the way down to the nub, do you?
I do.
You know what? I might.
I like going down to the nub.
I might use this pencil to sign my divorce papers. Then it's not legally binding.
So it's
perfect. You just life hack right there. If you don't ever want to get divorced, only have pencils. All right, here on the Bro 4 Squad podcast, no segue needed. We start every episode off with the most important
by getting fucking derailed.
Yeah. I mean, don't you have to be on the tracks to get off of them?
Fair enough.
That's our specialty.
Yeah. The most important thing in any bro's life, which is chess day. But it has been so long since we've actually got to pod together between Thanksgiving holidays and families coming in and people traveling. And Banner's actually in a play, kind of, with Baby Banner. So we figured this would just be a great opportunity for us to talk about all of the shit that we have watched since we last spoke. And I personally love these episodes because we really never know what we're going to hear from. Here on the Bro 4 Squad, it could be anything from like an AMC classic movie to Banner has like on streaming been able to perfect like the bargain bin watch as well. So who knows what we're going to get into tonight. We're just going to go around and talk about a few things that we have watched since the last time we spoke. I'm sure there will be some overlap. Brian, let's start with you, since today, congratulations are in order. Your favorite Major League Baseball team, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, California, United States, Earth, got the 2nd overall pick in the upcoming Major League Baseball draft. So congrats. Because of that, I'll let you go first. What is something you watched lately?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to thank the Academy for all the hard work.
I realized they were involved in Major League Baseball.
They are very heavily. First thing I'm going to talk about, this is a cute little 4-part miniseries, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. This is essentially Star Wars's version of What If. So you've got this little nerf herder, Sig, and he goes in and finds a way that completely rewrites reality in the Star Wars universe, and it is everything you want it to be. I think it's 4 episodes. It's amazing. I'll just give you two. I'll give you one thing that you guys will love. Luke, guess what he is in this series? I guess
He
A robot.
is a stormtrooper.
no. He is a professional pod racer.
Oh, I love it.
Jar Jar. He is also a Sith leader.
I mean,
Okay,
that's
good.
that's so
Yeah.
he's not.
But
any
that's
different.
canon, so that one
Yeah.
doesn't change.
I don't
Okay.
understand your point there, Banner. Are you
When
saying
Cycling,
that-
not to derail us real quick, but when Cycling first brought up that theory to me, I had a good laugh. I did like an hour of internet research, and I called them back. I was like, I hope you're not joking, because I actually fucking believe this now.
you can break it down. It is
Yeah.
fact. My favorite part of that theory is George Lucas got bullied out of abandoning the storyline.
So, Brian, I know you're about to continue talking about this, but are these like what if, where they're like separate episodes telling the stories, or is this like the universe gets reimagined and we just discover all these different changes that happened throughout the 4-episode arc?
Yeah, it's not like What If where they're all kind of individual stories. This is one kind of through line. They're like 25-minute episodes. So with Disney Plus's credits, this is like a 19-minute show.
It's on Netflix.
Disney Plus.
Okay, I really don't understand the Lego licensing because
No, not at all.
I feel like they can do anything. Like they did a Lego Batman movie.
Yep.
Obviously, they have a deal with Disney because they do a lot of the Marvel stuff. Like, does Lego just either they're absolute whores and every IP is in bed with them, or they have the best working relationship of any company that's ever existed?
I have to imagine that the one writing the contract. Sorry, I'm going to nerd out a little bit. Think about all the Lego sets you can buy of every
Oh,
genre.
yeah.
Right.
Everything.
I have a feeling that in these contracts, the ability for them to use the IP on a Lego set, they write it in a way where it's a broad term that Lego has the right to use the IP in general. Now, most companies probably intended that to be for Lego sets, but there's probably just a royalty percentage that Lego is just paying these companies, and that's why Lego is so diverse in what they offer. Like
It's just-
from every.
They just
It's
live in the
weird.
cracks, man. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird that they're able to broker though these deals without any of the companies wanting exclusivity. Like to the point where they won't work with them. I guess
I
there's
think
just so much
Lego is
money
such a
left on the table.
monopoly on the toy itself. Like if you call Lego a toy,
So,
right?
yeah, a
Like,
building block.
everyone wants to be involved in that.
Name another block company. I'll wait.
There was when we were kids.
H&R Block.
Oh,
Damn
no.
it.
Next question.
Wow, Banner.
Actually, what is like the shitty version of Lego? I can't
Well, there was
remember.
the one for kids where it's like
There's
the
like
two-
mega
the plastic-
blocks, right?
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, my dad
One
got
of
the
them-
like extreme version, the like erector sets. Like it was
One
like
of
the
them
like
has-
elevated.
One of them has a movie with Daniel Radcliffe as one of the voices. Let me look it up. Playmobil, the movie.
I don't think I've seen that one.
No, it's like notoriously like one of the worst movies of all time. Bikini Hackers level.
No, I was gonna say don't insult big actors like
Bringing it back though, Lego, any like movie that they have put out or series like this that they have put out, never watched one I didn't enjoy.
What was that other Lego Star Wars we watched where like the Emperor and Anakin go to the beach?
It was like the Christmas special, right?
sorry,
I
that
think
sounds like
so.
something we would have made up on a commentary, like when they
Oh,
went
dude,
golfing.
it was, and it
It's
was fucking
amazing.
hilarious. There was like a hula contest that like Anakin made the Emperor do. He's like, I don't want to.
But yeah, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. I suggest it. Like I said, this is shorter than most movies that you're gonna watch if you just sit down and watch all 4 of them together. Mark Hamill does reprise his role as Luke
that.
Skywalker, which is pretty cool.
Love how he's down to play ball.
All right, there you go.
Check that out.
Ahmad Best
right.
is also back as Jar Jar, which was also really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I'm glad that I mean, talk about toxic fandom. That was like before Star Wars really like got out of control and people wanted him to die. So I'm glad that he's back.
That's the best thing you can say about our fandom. It's like, oh yeah, we're not extreme, just
Well, that's when we thought the death threats were real because we didn't make them every 5 minutes.
God.
You know, it was like, oh shit, this guy actually might get killed by like a rabid fan. right, Cycly. So we'll just keep going round robin. Cycly, what's something you've seen since we last spoke?
I'll go with the one of the big ones that I know you guys haven't seen, so I'll get it out of the way. I'll try. I don't know what your interest level in seeing this in theater, so I won't try and give too much. But saw Gladiator II with the family over Thanksgiving. As I've said on the pod many times, Gladiator. I guess, do I say Gladiator 1 now? That feels weird. I just want to say Gladiator.
Gross.
Is one of my favorite movies ever. I believe it's like 48-ish on my top 100. Just an incredible film, score, acting, everything in that movie. So, I really didn't think ever that movie needed a sequel, right? It like kind of did what it needed to do. And when they announced Gladiator 2, I was like, kind of like, curiosity, now you're my attention kind of thing. Like, all right, I love Ridley Scott. I feel like lately Ridley Scott. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, has Ridley Scott just lost it though?
So that was my concern, especially after watching Napoleon. And my complaints about this film are very related to my same complaints about Napoleon. So going into this movie, I was like, look, it's just not. I at least went in with the expectation, like, it is not going to live up to Gladiator. It just can't. Gladiator won Best Picture. It just like it was just a strike of lightning. But when I'm gonna go to the good things really fast, the cast is phenomenal. I mean, Paul Mescal, like, probably didn't know his name a few years ago, like, at all, and he's great. I think that what he carries the film for sure. Strong opening, very much Pedro Pascal. We probably wanted more of him in the film. Very much parallels the first one in a way. It's not exactly like a remake, but it just kind of follows the same narrative. You can only do so much when your main character is someone who becomes a slave and becomes a gladiator.
Is Connie Nielsen the only one who came back from the first one?
Yeah, and I was about to get into her. She is
yeah, you were.
Yeah, she's so. Hey, I don't know how old she is, but she can still get it. But her performance is awful.
Really?
Everyone in this movie is great, save for her. And for a minute there, I was like, I know that's her, but I started questioning whether it was her, because I'm like, she was great in the first.
Good.
Like, she's really good in the first one. I'm like, I just don't know it just, like, every scene she was in, it just felt like she'd forgotten how to act, or it was overacted, or it was just like, I just didn't believe her. Like, everyone else, Denzel is Denzel. That's not going to change. But the biggest complaint, go ahead.
I was just going to say, he is the only reason that I would even halfway consider going to see this. I have no desire to see this. And you're not really selling me on going to see it.
I would say it's not bad. Let me like, at least I think I'm coming at it from someone who, like, absolutely adores Gladiator. Like, again, as one of my favorite movies. So it's like, it's really hard for me to, like.
I know. And when you go and you're like, I'm not going to compare this to the first Gladiator, like, you can only fight that to a certain extent.
You can only fight that to a certain extent, like you said. I will say it is a good movie. Like, I should have probably started with that. Like, it's entertaining. It has great action, great music. Like, it has all the things you want in a kind of Christmas era blockbuster. If it's not going to be released in the summertime, big budget. The biggest complaints I'm going to have are the story is relatively weak, or the way they go about it, and the pacing is just. Yes. Well, I don't want to give away too much. If you like, the pacing feels completely strange. Like, I feel like, and this is my complaint, and this is the same thing in Napoleon. I feel like Ridley Scott is out there creating 5-hour movies, and then he's shocked that he has to cut it down. And when he cuts it down, now a lot of movie filmmakers, like, they know what they want, the overall thing. All of a sudden, it's like he's like being told by the teacher, no, cut this in half now. And he's like, oh, I don't know how to cut it. And, like, you're watching the film and you're like, was there supposed to be a filmmaker, man? Yeah, it's like, was there supposed to be a scene there? Was there another character? That was my biggest complaint, because overall, as a movie, it's really good. It's just like these little things in between were just missing. There were just gaps, I felt like. Story, for a 2.5-hour movie, it felt rushed in a way, because the character development was lacking. So I would say, if this comes out on streaming, you guys should watch it. It is an entertaining film. And so you guys don't have, like, the iteration for Gladiator 2, Gladiator TOO. I think you can take off your rose tinted glasses and enjoy it for what it is. But for me and my dad, like, who loves this film too, we both walked away going like, it probably didn't need to be made.
Yeah, and I know that Ridley Scott had put off like several different versions of this movie throughout the years. I don't know if he just like had the rights to it in perpetuity, and because I honestly, for when I hear him like speak to the press, I don't think he likes making movies, and I don't think he likes movie-going audiences. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, who is this exercise for now?
You know what? If he doesn't like what movies are becoming, then fine, do your 5-hour epic and release it.
And no one will go see it.
Well, yeah, or just release it on Max in 2-hour increments or 1-hour increments as like a mini series.
Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna get mad at you if you want to do that. If you feel like you're being held back with this and Napoleon, then find another avenue. Because if you want to make a 5-hour movie and then cut it down, it's really
working,
takes
man.
away from it.
But like,
Yeah,
I'm tired of him shocked that like no one will give him $150 million budget, and then when they do, he has to like kind of adhere to some of the studio's demands, like keep it under 3 hours.
Yeah, that's how the game is played, dude.
Right? What do you fucking think it is, dude? We're not just gonna pay you to go off and like shoot like your version of War and Peace, and then come back and bitch about movie going. Like, it doesn't make sense. And if you hate movie going audiences, yeah, then that's fine. Then don't cater to us, but don't make a movie and then get pissed that people don't like movies.
Yeah. I will say, like, again, I'm not trying to shit on it. The action scenes are fantastic. Like the naval scene in the Coliseum, which is something that happened in real life.
Yeah, that looks sick in the trailer.
It is. Yeah. That is worth, again, when I say it's streaming for you guys, watch it. It's entertaining enough, but this is not going to be a Gladiator you're going to see get nominated for much, maybe outside of sound related things.
So if the original Gladiator wasn't made and we just had this movie, so nothing to go off of, this was, instead of Gladiator 2, say this was just Gladiator, where would this stand?
I think it would be better. I think I would have the same overall complaints, but I definitely would probably have it rated like from probably a 5 out of 10 to a 6.5 out of 10.
1.5. That's a big spread.
I think I would have walked out of there being like, it felt original. I think that's the hard thing. You're like, okay, well, they did some of the same things, and it was more powerful the first time around. And they really drilled hard the callbacks to Gladiator 1. And I'm like, okay, you don't need to shove my face in it. I get it. Like,
see, that's tough in a movie that we didn't need. Don't give me the other movie.
Oh, they really wanted you to remember Maximus, like, and his quotes.
I also heard that for some reason, I think Hans Zimmer came back for the score, but they had to use like samples of the original score instead of the original. So it's like very close to it, but then like it's really just feels like a sort of like a ripoff, even though it's the same composer.
That's exactly that. What you just said is exactly works for the description of the whole movie. Like, it's the same composer, same filmmaker. It feels slightly like a ripoff, like a cheaper version of it, even though the budget is huge and the action's amazing. That's a perfect analogy, Jeff.
So now that actually made me kind of curious to listen to it.
Yeah.
Just to see like what happened.
So now I want to see. And Gladiator is a fantastic score, so.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
you guys watch it when it comes out on streaming and give me your thoughts, but yeah, I would say save your $12.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I thought. Okay, you done on Gladiator 2?
Yeah.
All right, I watched, speaking of sequels, I actually went back and rewatched all 3 of the original Lord of the Rings extended cuts, and I was
for that.
And I was basically live texting Cycly as I did it.
I had an erection the whole time.
You didn't have to keep sending me photos of that. I got it.
I just wanted you to know it was real.
No, I knew. That was never like doubt that it was happening. Especially when you started tagging me on LinkedIn. It was bizarre. So I watched, the one I want to talk about is Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, which I had always remembered as my favorite, but goddamn does it hold up. Now, I will say about the Lord of the Rings, I don't understand probably a quarter of what they're talking about. And I run into, this could be a weird analogy, but Cycly and I somehow always seem to reference The Orphan on every podcast. I'm not going to do that right now. But True Detective Season 2, the reason I hated it was I could not get all of the names correct because one of the people's names sounded like the city they were in. That kept happening to me in Lord of the Rings. They would like reference a guy like Gimblagaj will be here in an hour. I'm like, what the fuck is Gimblagaj? And I was getting very confused. But when the actual Two Towers fight scene happens, I understand what's going on there. And I still think it is one of the best practically shot set pieces I've ever seen in my life. The only thing that I think that comes close, and it's another weird analogy, is the freeway car chase in Bad Boys 2.
Yes.
As far as like practical
That's the best
sequence.
chase scene in the history of chase scenes, just for the record.
Yeah, I agree. But the Two Towers battle, and Cycly, I'm sure you have more information on this to add, but it all looks like it is actual people there in orc costumes. And it looks like the actual, like, I can't remember the name of the castle they're defending, but that all looks practical also. And like, you know that I love the Endgame portal scene. I think it might be the greatest movie scene in history. But this felt like a actual like world that was lived in version of that, where like you could touch things and feel things, and the way it's lit and shot just to me was like my jaw was on the floor. And it was like an hour and 10 minutes long, and I could have done another 40 minutes of that fight in and of itself.
Oh yeah, the Battle of Helm's Deep. I think even someone like Banner who doesn't like Lord of the Rings, where I'm going to be on the polar opposite, where they are like perfect movies to me, is widely accepted that probably one of the greatest battle scenes.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. That's the one where Orlando Bloom is like sliding down the stairs with and like shooting the bow and arrow, right? Yeah, fucking cool.
But what's funny about
said that because of the Lord of the Rings, I think I've seen all of them once, but of them, I remember that being my favorite, and it was because of that in battle scene.
It slaps.
Yeah, and it carries so like that film. I think it carries, like you said, Jeff. It's like what, at least over an hour, and these films are 3 hour plus extended edition. So like it carries a heavy burden of that film. Like really, the Two Towers is the Battle of Helm's Deep. At the same time, the battle in Gondor is going on. Well, not Battle of Gondor, but Osgiliath. But you know, there's so much. Yeah, exactly. Gimli Gore.
Gimli Gore.
But you know, what's funny to me is actually Two Towers. Well, we'll see when I get to my top 10. Might be the least favorite of the three, but only because so much of that movie is straight action, whereas the development in the other two, mainly the first one, is just so like fantastic. But yeah, it's hard to not talk about the Battle of Helm's Deep of being just like cinematic brilliance.
Yeah, and of course the score, like, I mean, it's fucking awesome. The whole thing, I just love like the dark aesthetic of it. Like most of it takes place at night in the rain when those orcs march up. I remember being in theaters watching it, and I was like ready to like lift weights. I was like getting pretty fucking jacked up.
I think Banner, you'll appreciate this. The Battle of Helm's Deep was credited, like especially when like the whole last season of fucking Game of Thrones was everything was so dark and you couldn't see shit when the White Walkers were coming down and into Winterfell, and literally like HBO, like I don't know who did like, well, it's night, so you can't see shit. I'm like, no, you have the Battle of Helm's Deep that takes place at night, and you can see everything. Just making it pitch dark doesn't help you. Like what happened with Game of Thrones at the end.
Yeah, you don't have to film that at 3 o'clock in the morning to make it dark. Film it at noon and like put a fucking shade up.
That's exactly how a battle at night should be filmed, and it's not like the battle for Winterfell was like the first time anyone did it, and they didn't know how to shoot a war scene in dark. So it's
they obviously didn't know how.
No, they didn't. Or I just so wonder how much they like weren't happy with the production. They're like, oh, let's just make it really dark so no one can tell.
Yeah, I was like, also maybe you can't see things at night, but I'm watching a fucking TV show, so I want to be able to see it.
Yeah, we know what we're here for.
Who's gonna complain like, dude, it was bullshit that we could see what was happening?
Yeah, I just want pitch dark and noise. That's essentially what it was.
Okay, bro. All right. High praise for Lord of the Rings: Two Towers. Banner, back to you.
All right. Let's see. I'm just gonna throw this out there real quick. It's been a fat minute since I've been on an episode. Around Halloween, I watched The Happening again. My God, is that fucking terrible?
How much of it is based on the performances? Because when Cycly and I check out I can't remember what episode number it was, but one of our previous episodes pretty recently, we ranked all the M. Night Shyamalan movies, and he and I both said we actually love the concept here.
Yeah,
it feels like a scary movie. Like
nobody is trying at all.
No,
everybody is monotone and like, oh no, this is happening. Like nobody is scared. There's no emotion in anything. The idea is probably one of his best, honestly. But it was just it was fucking terrible. I don't know why I watched it. It actually might have been because you guys were talking about it, and I wanted to go back and revisit it. And yeah, it's as bad as I remember.
Tanner, I did a rewatch too, and I walked out of there. I texted Jeff, and I was like, "Nope, that movie still sucks.
Yep.
Really badly."
Yep. Good news, bad news. Good news is I was right back then. Bad news is I was right.
Still
now.
right.
Yeah, still right.
There you go. Yeah, sometimes you just got to double check. It was episode 227, so go back. And Cycling, I put the Shyamalan movies into tiers.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I listened to that episode and I was like, "Ooh, I need to go back and visit this."
Yeah,
and,
this is the one that had a lot of untapped potential left on the.
Yeah.
But this was when Shyamalan needed like a heat check, right? Like he's made every shot, so he's like, "All right, let me just jack up one from half court." And oh, that's an air ball. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
This is I think we allude to like M. Night Shyamalan and Ding Dong as like George Lucas. It's like, dude, you can come up with really fantastic ideas. Stop writing scripts. Stop hiring yes men in the room. Like let someone else. Yeah. Like let someone help you. You're not alone.
That's okay. Like you have enough fucking talent to be like, hey, can someone else come in and give a pass at the script?
Yeah. Is it not enough that you came up with a brilliant idea? Just hand it off. You'll still get the credit.
Just doesn't. It's not a recipe for success.
All right. So just had to throw that out there. Everybody, The Happening, it still sucks. What doesn't suck, though, guys, it's that time of year. Christmas time. Christmas with the Cranks. It's a fucking classic, guys.
Yeah, we're about to watch it soon over here.
Yeah. It's so fucking good.
We've done a commentary on that, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did. So check that out. But this is a classic. It's an every year watch, so make sure you go out and get it. It's funny. I think I laughed harder this year than I ever have. It just gets better and better with each time.
We want Frosty.
Free Frosty. Free Frosty.
Little kid from Malcolm in the Middle.
Spike.
I got a banner. I think this is crazy to say, but I'm getting pretty close to saying I think Christmas with the Cranks might be Tim Allen's best Christmas movie.
Look.
Am I a crazy person for saying that?
You're not gonna hear me say no. I love Christmas with the Cranks, but I also love Santa Claus, so it's really hard. The problem with the Santa Claus is the Santa Claus you have to also include Santa Claus 2 and 3.
No, I don't think you do.
Man, I don't know.
That's not fair. Come on, man.
That's not how that works.
So I won't talk about this much because I put it in a shower beer squad blog that I posted a couple weeks ago. But the wife and I rewatched the OG Santa Claus, and I find myself hating every part of it that actually involves the North Pole and Santa, which is probably why I hate the sequels. The best stuff is just him ripping on Neil the whole time.
That's very true.
Like everything that actually involves the lore of Santa, I really don't enjoy. Like when they go to the North Pole, I'm like, can we get the fuck out of here?
I watched the scene. I don't know. It came up on like Instagram or some shit earlier the other day about the girl like talking about her 100-year-old recipe of hot chocolate, and it was
dating someone and rapping.
Yeah, it was so fucking hard to watch. I was like, yeah, Christmas with the Cranks, man. I'm just saying, I like it better than the Santa Claus.
I'll tell you this. I think the Santa Claus is still ahead of it, but the gap has really thinned in the past.
Do you remember? I want to go back and figure out what episode it was that you and Geiger would just talk shit on me for how much I loved Christmas with the Cranks, and then you finally watched it and
isn't it a John Grisham novel also?
Yeah, called Skipping Christmas.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah,
like 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. Dear God,
5?
No.
Yeah.
No. Fuck off.
Get out of here.
Nope. It's 5%. 3.2. Oh man. Now I need to watch this. Fuck? I've actually never seen it.
Its IMDb rating is almost higher than its Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah.
And one is out of 10 and the other's out of 100. Yeah, that's bullshit. 5%.
Yeah, come on. It is way better than that.
It is. It's really good. Cycling, have you seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
All right. Give it a poke,
check
man.
I think it's on Hulu right now.
Now I'm fucking pissed. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
5%. Fuck off. But the popcorn meter is 39%. So Fuck everyone. Critics, people. Bullshit.
We're not here to be popular on the Bro 4 Squad.
All right, those are 2 quickies I had.
All right, Psycho, what else you got?
Well, just since I started with Gladiator, I'll continue with a movie we saw a few days after Gladiator 2, which was Wicked Part 1. Which Banner? Ooh, Banner. What? Go ahead. I'll hand it off.
Is Part 1 in the title?
Yes.
Yes.
That's gross.
You wanted me not say Part 1?
I mean, it's just, first off, I haven't seen it marketed that way, so I was a little confused.
You know, it is clearly that on the screen in the theater.
Oh God, that's sad.
Yeah, I agree. They didn't market it that way. Like I'm looking at the fucking poster right now, and it does not say Part 1 on it, but in the theater, whenever it pops up, it clearly says Part 1.
Banner, I want you to kick it off.
No. I'm not stealing your thunder. This is your movie. I will comment when you're done.
This is our movie together. I have seen Wicked when it came to the town I used to live in, that you live in, Banner, and I actually really like it. Like I thought the musical was just really fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's whimsical. It's the music's really good. It's great comedy. This film, I really didn't like. I didn't have that much motivation to see it. You know, my wife wanted to see it, but in the same sense, like, oh, we'll see it when we see it. My parents were in town for 3 weeks, so we needed to do something with them. So we were like, let's just go see Wicked. I'm going to say this. I was very pleasantly surprised. I was very entertained. I thought the performances were actually, well, all around really enjoyable and entertaining. Like, the one drawback I'll say, the movie is 20-30 minutes too long, but not in the sense where I'm sitting there in the seat like, I need this movie to end. It was just like, when you really think about it, it's like it could have easily taken time off, and that's,
yeah. I mean, a 2-hour 40-minute musical, like,
yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
It didn't need to be that, but I will credit the film. Like, even though it is still 2 hours and 45 minutes, like, I wasn't complaining. I just walked out of there going like, yeah, it could have been shorter.
I was complaining.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I was like, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm complaining. I haven't even seen it.
So
it gave me time with my parents to like distract them, so I was fine with it.
I agree with a lot of what you said, actually. Visually, I thought it was great. They went after singer or the actors that are in it are singers and dancers first, and you can tell, and I think that came off really well. I was very surprised, honestly, with Ariana Grande's acting.
I was too.
I thought she played Glenda fantastic.
Glinda.
Whatever. Galenda.
Read a book.
That's the joke in the movie. Come on, guys.
I too have seen the musical play on stage, and I enjoyed it. Again, like you said, it doesn't take itself too seriously. I love the world building, how we get a background that leads into the Wizard of Oz. I always like bigger worlds and different movies that kind of play off each other. This movie was about 45 minutes too long for me. While again, I appreciate everything that it did, just about everything was practical in it, which was fantastic as well. That big ass fucking train was practical. They had like thousands of daisies out there that were all real.
Cinematography was great.
It was fantastic. Yes. I appreciate everything that it did. It broke 2 big cardinal sins for me. 1, this is 2.5 plus.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Sorry. Can't do
it. Do it.
2, it's a parter. This is a part 1. I hate
Banner hates parters.
I hate 2-parters. I can't stand it. Again, my problem with the length, the play itself is what? Runtime of 2:15, maybe 2:30.
That's what's so interesting.
And this the movie is fucking longer than that, and we're not even done with the goddamn story.
This one ends where intermission ends.
Yeah.
You know, and you would think a musical actually takes longer in terms of like what they got to do on stage.
Yeah, I mean, that is unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable.
Did your daughter like it?
She absolutely loved it.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yes.
That's what.
So she knew the songs.
Yes, she did. Brooke Banner and them listen to them all the time anyway, so they're very familiar with the songs. And again, like that end piece ending with her singing whatever the fucking song that was.
Defying Gravity.
Yeah, fantastic. Visually, again, her singing as she's doing all the actual stunts. She did a lot of her own stunts, if not all of them, I think.
I mean, she's a Broadway actress. It makes sense for her to do it, right? Like,
right.
She does it on stage.
And so it was, again, appreciate everything it was, but entirely too fucking long.
What I think why I like Wicked so much, and not necessarily the movie, but like the story itself. And I texted this to Jeff, and we do this on the pod all the time, right? Like I love defending bad guys. We've talked about how we defend bad guys on the podcast, and this movie, like the fact that it's obviously not real canon to Wizard of Oz, and this was written as someone just wanted to like defend the Wicked Witch of the West. Like I love this concept that they made up a story for the Wicked Witch of the West is why she was the way she was, and it's all like misinterpretation, and she was actually like this person. I'm like, I fucking love that. Like I would watch this movie about like so many other films that we've talked about on the pod where we defend the Sith or Cal on Titanic or so on and so forth.
Fossa,
but that's what's such a fun concept.
Did you
honestly.
say Mufasa?
Yeah.
Did you mean Scar?
Sorry, I meant Scar, yeah.
No, to him,
like,
Mufasa is the bad guy in the original. But like,
maybe he is. We're gonna find out in a couple weeks.
Like, I think this is something that's like a lost art. Like, I feel like maybe before the internet age and people, because this was obviously written before that, like where people used to entertain themselves in this way, like where we came up with stories about characters we already knew, right? Like there was a lot of Harry Potter fan fiction. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Like none of it has taken as much hold maybe between movie studios and authors and trying to maintain their rights, but maybe because this is, open for anyone to kind of, interpret it now because it's so old. It's just like, I don't know. I wish we had more of this kind of thing. Something that doesn't take itself too seriously and builds itself. That's something that we all love. And it's pure entertainment. I agree. It could have been a lot shorter. Performances were great though. Like I still had a good time.
I do love a good musical, but yeah, that runtime definitely scared me off.
Only last two things I'll say. One, Jeff Goldblum, again, fucking amazing.
He's a national treasure.
Two, it was cool to see Kristen Chenoweth and
yes,
and what the fuck is
Michelle Yeoh?
No,
the original Glenda and Elsa.
Yeah,
right?
She's Elsa in she plays Elsa in Frozen also.
That I had no idea they were in it. Like a little.
I had no idea they were in it either, but they were the original two
so
on Broadway, and they had really cool scene in it. So that was that I really did appreciate. Again, that was neat.
Peter Dinklage is in it.
Oh, it took me so long to be like every time Peter Dinklage talked as the goat, I kept going to my wife. Who fuck is that?
Yes,
that voice is so familiar. I kept going crazy about 10 minutes
Idina
later.
Menzel.
It's Pink. It's
Thank
Peter
you.
Dinklage.
Yes, Idina Menzel.
But I freaked out.
And Idina Menzel. That was really neat.
But I'm glad you had the same experience because I was like, why do I know his voice so well? And
Yeah.
then it finally hit.
He's great, man.
Yeah.
Put him in everything.
All right, Horns, what you got?
All right, I got two things I'll get through real quick. I've started watching the show St. Denis Medical on Peacock. Have any of you guys seen this? Heard of this?
No, I need to hop on it. I've heard good things.
It's basically like the mockumentary style of like The Office or Parks and Rec, but it is set in a hospital. It really wants to be The Office, but not in like an annoying way, in kind of like an endearing, cute way, where it like really wants us to like it. And it's working on me. My wife and I watched the first 5 episodes, which are now on Peacock. It's just really like low rent. It's fun characters. Seeing that dynamic of The Office in a hospital is really funny. The cast is actually pretty good. It's got Wendy McClendon Covey, who was from Reno 911 and actually is in The Office. She plays the concierge at that hotel in Montreal that Michael goes to, who he hooks up with. David Alan Grier is in it, who I love. Blank Man, his performance in that is like one of my favorite comedic performances. And then Allison Tolman is in it, who Cycly you will love. She is the sister of Toni Collette in Krampus.
Oh, huh? That's funny. Yeah, she's hilarious.
And she's also in I think season 2 of Fargo and a couple other things. She's really good. So I really like the show. It's not something I'm like gonna rave about and be like, oh, give it an Emmy award, but It's funny. It's cute. It's not trying too hard for laughs, which I think is big. Some of the characters are a little bit like over the top at times, but I think with the mockumentary style, you kind of have to do that. But it's working so far. I'll definitely like whenever it comes out, the wife and I usually watch it right away because it's just easy to get through and entertaining.
That's I feel like that's a really high praise for a show in today's day and age. In the day and age where you can sit there and watch 5 episodes because the entire season drops at the same time. Now that they're starting to do these weekly drops again, similar to network TV.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it that second like you did, back on network TV. Now you can go, oh, well, I'll watch it in a couple of days, or wait for all of them to come out and watch the entire season at once. If you're watching it right when it drops, that's high praise.
Yeah. So if you guys get a chance, check it out with the wives. I don't think you'll regret it. Again, it's not like as laugh out loud as The Office. What is? But there's definitely some good laughs in there. Interesting characters.
Has the potential to get there?
It does, although I don't see yet, and it's obviously very early. We're only 5 episodes in, but I don't see the potential for some of the characters in terms of our emotional investment in them. Like even pretty early on in The Office, you could kind of tell Jim and Pam had something going on that you cared about. That definitely is not present here yet, at least. Like everyone is kind of played as like the comedic relief, and you do need a few.
As someone who like adores Scrubs in the sense of like one of the greatest comedy sitcoms, what made Scrubs so great I'm not comparing that to this, but just being something that takes place in a hospital, was Scrubs' ability to be so funny, but also because they're in a hospital, just get really raw and like heartbreaking too at the same time.
They did a good job of using the patients to convey that realness, right?
Yeah, being in a hospital. Does this show have that sense, or is it more gimmick like comedy? Is it, or like I just didn't know if it was like branching which again why Scrubs is so iconic is like it was able to take those two in something in a hospital, which usually you do a drama or a comedy. So I just didn't know if like there's that element.
Yeah, not at all so far. It has not even tried to go there really. And I think of the finale. I don't count the like reboot season of Scrubs as part of the series. The finale
with Franco in it.
Yeah, right. The finale where JD walks out of the hospital with like the projector
so good
playing.
Yeah,
I mean that's like one of the most poignant scenes I've ever seen in television. So right now, and again, it's in its infancy and it's still definitely finding its footing. I don't think they really know which characters yet that they want to pull back the reins on comedically and make a little more serious. I'm sure they'll wait for like them to sort of develop themselves. And cyclically, as you always talk about, season 1 of sitcoms is a lot of times like the proof of concept before they really know who the characters are. And a lot of times, even just in a jump from season 1 to 2, we see drastic changes in them. So I'm kind of interested if this gets renewed for a second season, where those changes will take place, because there will be a few.
Well, especially with you comparing this to The Office, like think about that drastic change from season 1 to 2.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the most drastic changes, especially in this mockumentary style show.
My wife could not get through season 1 of The Office. We started season 2. Yeah, my wife. We started season 2 one day, and she was like, "Is this the same show?"
Oh, it has such a different feel. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael especially. Like he's just a straight up dick in season 1, and once they were like, "What if we write him with some heart?" It's like, "Oh, that's a genius idea," and that just sort of unlocked everything.
Yeah, we were trying to be British, like the British Office, and doesn't work as well here.
Right, and honestly, like a Ricky Gervais type character just isn't going to play as well over here. I feel like he's just always a dick to everyone, but it's funny, I guess. I don't.
It's good in a movie setting, not in a television show.
Yeah, for sure. So St. Denis Medical episode. I don't know how many episodes season 1 is going to be, but I would imagine 5. We're probably close to the halfway point. And the thing I love, I'm always looking for like a good 24-minute watch. While we eat or something on the couch. This is scratching that itch for me.
This is that you need that palate cleanser sometimes before you go to bed. If you watch something heavy.
Yeah, like there's a movie I'm going to talk about next for my last one that Cyclin and I both watched that definitely needed a palate cleanser after. One other thing I'll just say real quick, and then I'll toss it over to you, Banner. So Pop Culture Jeopardy. Do you guys know this is out right now?
No.
So it's on Amazon Prime. I'm also watching it at my local library. Hosted by Colin Jost, who I think is fucking hilarious from Weekend Update. They've released the first 3 episodes, and the way it works, there are, I don't know how many teams, but there are teams of 3 3 teams of 3 competing each episode. The winning team advances, and it's like a big bracket style that they're putting together. Ooh. The great thing, though, is, like I said, it's pop culture Jeopardy. So every single question is music, movies, TV, the internet, like stuff like that. So my wife and I watched the first 3 episodes, had a blast because we knew like half the questions.
That's amazing. I might even be good at that. Although
that just sounds so fun.
I did beat Thurman this year at Broforce Squad Jeopardy. So
well, that was movie Jeopardy. So this is like right down your alley.
That's true.
Highly recommend it. 3 episodes are out right now. And so the 3 winners of those episodes play each other in the next round.
Are they just like 30-minute episodes or
even less? Yeah, like 26 minutes.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
Colin Jost is fucking hilarious. Like, I know that we've had trouble. Like, Ken Jennings has obviously done the bulk of the show since Alex Trebek passed away. Dude, just give it to Colin Jost. He's so good at this. It's incredible. Like, he's cracking me up every time, and it's so effortless too. Just like the snark that he brings, but it's also not. None of it's done. It's like out in Alex Trebek's way. For the most part, he's like snarky with the guests, but not in like a mean or like condescending way. Which is funny.
That's a very sweet spot to be in.
Yeah. So check it out. I mean, the categories are incredible. Like, it was so much fun knowing like probably half the answers, and I'm not a smart man, Jenny. You know, like, it was great for us.
What is fuck.
Is this a Jeopardy joke you're trying to make?
Forrest Gump.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Forrest Gump. I was going to say, what is it streaming on? And I was like,
I thought that's what you were doing.
Amazon
I was like,
Prime.
wait, I think he's trying to make a.
No, trying to make a joke, but
Well, I think you lose
indulged
that
too
pop
much
culture
tonight.
Jeopardy there, Banner.
Yeah, poor guy. All right, Banner, back to you. What do you got?
All right, real quick. I don't think we've announced it on pod yet, but that's a good little segue here. I did beat Thurman in Broforce Squad Jeopardy a while back, and I am forced to make him watch a movie of my choosing, and I chose Suburbicon for him to watch. So
He better write a Broforce blog, squad blog, like I had to when he beat me.
he will. Yeah, same rules apply.
But see, Thurman gave you a movie out of love. Banner gave him one out of hate.
And I would absolutely behave the same way Banner would. So that was Nate. Nate didn't need to be a good guy. He didn't need to be a hero.
But that's why he's the American hero.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Yeah, he gave you
All right.
RRR cycling, which was very kind of him.
Yes, it was too kind because I would have absolutely given him something like Banner did, or something worse.
I don't know. It doesn't get much worse than Suburbicon. All right, but what is better than Suburbicon? I will talk about this. I believe both of you guys watched this as well. That 90s show, the second season, unfortunately, I believe it'll be the final season. That
unless it's
90s
picked
show.
up somewhere else.
Yeah, I know they're shopping it around, but I don't
That's
think it
okay.
sounds good. But
We can stop.
see, I don't know.
I think I liked it.
I liked
it. Grew
it.
into itself.
I think it could have.
I don't think so.
I would have given it another season. The first season it was all about this. It's that 70s show, but in the 90s, and these kids were trying to be the original cast. And I feel like the second season they really settled in and figured out who their character is, and they started to give them a little bit more meat on the bone to play with. You know what I mean?
They had more freedom to be themselves, like to create their own identities.
Yeah.
I actually felt like part 2 of season 2 or whatever, like that's where it was like really gaining momentum.
Yeah.
Like
I
right
agree.
at the end. And I think what else, and I think what Jeff says, like, is it the greatest show ever? No. Is it even
Absolutely
like that
not.
great? No.
No.
But what I will say is one of the reasons why I think it should have continued. One, it was giving, we don't give shows a lot of time to gain an audience, and a lot of people didn't even want to try it because it was going to be or try to be that 70s show. But 2, in the grand scheme of things, budget wise, this is probably one of the cheapest things.
I was just about
that-
to say that.
And
That is
and
true.
why not let it, like, Netflix especially is notorious for not letting things build. Like, they will just cut the cord. And it's like, dude, no, Seinfeld would never have made it. I'm not saying this would never be Seinfeld, but like, people need to give things time to grow. And if it's really in your budget, like, who is the most expensive cast member? Red and no, come on, no way. They have nothing else that's going on.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's Red and Kitty. They have to be the most expensive cast members.
And when I say expensive, I guarantee you that's compared to anything, it's crumbs. So
well, I know
like
Kurtwood Smith is an EP on it too. So
yeah,
he's probably isn't getting paid like a flat fee even, right?
I would just say the reason why I think it should have continued is it was gaining an audience, kind of like How I Met Your Father. It was building into itself, and it's probably cheap in production.
It just started getting interesting.
Yeah, let it live. But yeah, Jeff, go ahead. I know you have opinions.
I was like 4 times more interested in How I Met Your Father than this show. This is both a compliment and a criticism to the show. The problem is after 2 seasons of it, the best part of it is still Red and Kitty by far. And the show just inherently won't work if the 2 parents or the parental figures are the people we care about the most. And I just thought like the story arcs with all of them, none of it was interesting to me at all. Like the stuff with Leia and her boyfriend, the Kelso kid, that guy, I mean, I think he regressed as an actor from season 1 to 2, which is saying quite a bit because he was pretty bad in the beginning. Now, Cycly knows this. Ozzy, I fucking love Ozzy. You cannot give Ozzy enough screen time for me.
He was the best. He was the best in the circle.
I'm gonna
every
say
time.
this, and this is gonna sound like high praise. Like early seasons of that '70s show, I think Ozzy could have punched, like he could have held his own with that cast. Like if you threw
100%, 100% agree with
in fact, I'll say this, and yes, this is like knowing what I know now. I would take Ozzy over Hyde.
I mean, well, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like Hyde's story on that '70s show, he was always sort of like Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World, just like a whiny little bitch every single episode. And Ozzy, to me, brought a unique perspective. Obviously, like what he's going through in the '90s, but just his sass and how fucking funny.
Oh, I love how like dry and witty he is.
He was, for me, probably like outside of Red and Kitty, he was probably like 90% of the laughs.
The thing that hurt the most is I think to Jeff's point was Ozzy obviously carried a lot, but Leia is just not a great actress.
Oh
yes, and when your lead is your worst actress,
and neither is Kelso, and that's like the Eric and Donna, like they're heavy the weight.
And I will give you that. I did think I can't remember her name as in real name, but I think Leia did improve over the course of seasons 1 to 2 to 2.2
marginally,
part 2. To the point to where I wasn't as distracted. Like season 1, I was very distracted by it.
Yeah.
I wasn't as distracted, but yeah, like your point. Yeah, if your lead is literally painful to watch, like the only thing I'll compare it to, again, not to compare the show, is like Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld was the worst actor in that, but he had such incredible co-workers, like co-actors that like it carried it, and it actually made Jerry's lack of acting a gag on the show. That's not what this show was or could ever be with her acting. It was just so And so like, yeah, you're right. Red and Kitty were the focus. Leia was just hard to watch sometimes. And that at the end of the day, I think solidifies the show. Still think it could have continued though.
All that to say, if it got a season 3, I would have watched it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know. And Cycly's main point is Netflix. I can't rattle anything off the top of my head, but I know if we actually went through and looked at a list of shows that they've either canceled or like really, really slow played their renewals, like they're really not, and maybe they have some other metric they go off of, but it just feels like their barometer or judgment on whether they renew something or not is a pretty fucking weird metric that no one else understands. Like the viewing audience is very confused.
Their market is the ability to watch it whenever. Stop canceling shows within 1 week of release. Like, okay, you expect everyone to watch them all? Like Chaos, that one show that got canceled that I really liked about the Greek gods.
I did too.
They canceled it within like 2 weeks of it coming out. I'm like, dude, let people haven't
I
even
didn't get
heard
to
of
finish.
this.
I didn't get to finish the season before they had canceled it.
Right.
I mean, word of mouth is
Give it
everything.
6 months.
It took Suits like 8 years to get popular.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's really bizarre, and especially when you think as far as like a streaming show that got popular, wasn't House of Cards literally the first one?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they were like the first ones to do this, and they still don't fucking know how it works.
No, they just pull the plug. I think they just want to keep their idea because I think they know that production costs go up every season. And so they're like, we'll just keep shitting out random shows. But eventually people are going to be like, I honestly don't even know if I want to start watching a show on Netflix unless I know it's
right. Why commit?
Yeah.
Especially if it ends on a cliffhanger. They'll just piss me
I mean,
off.
and the only reason these shows end on cliffhangers is the writers are doing everything they can to guarantee they'll get a second season. So like, I don't blame production. I don't blame these shows for having cliffhangers. They're trying to say like, let this grow an audience, let the story continue.
I love a good cliffhanger. I don't love a good cliffhanger that never gets concluded.
Right, Netflix.
They're listening to this too.
Bitch.
But if you want to sponsor us, we would love that.
Yeah, you and Buy Black, just get in line. All right, Banner, was that you that brought up that 90s show?
Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe not. Maybe go fuck yourself.
Maybe go fuck yourself.
Maybe go
Exactly. What else you got?
It would have been incredible if I was going right into The Departed right here.
Oh, really?
No, I'm not. But that would have been great though. I should have just lied. Like I just watched The Departed.
I saw it. It's good still.
It's
Okay,
great.
next thing.
You
didn't really watch it, did you?
I'll really quickly just say, we're in the Christmas season, like you guys talking about Christmas with the Cranks. Krampus, absolutely part of the repertoire now of watching it every Christmas. Jeff,
I watched it too.
Yes. So when they do a showing here there's a German beer garden here, the big outdoor screen, and they do it every Christmas. And Krampus and his minions actually show up. The first time Krampus.
Way.
Yeah,
that would
awesome.
scare the shit out of me.
Send him the video after this. It's
yeah,
insane.
well, yeah, Krampus. So like they actually, the first time I did this last year, I thought something was wrong with the movie. Krampus makes his first appearance. The movie all of a sudden stops. And it stops with the daughter staring out. And it's like, you're like, why did the movie stop? But if you follow her eyes and you turn completely around, on top of the beer hall is Krampus. And like the smoke is rising and they're playing this music. It's so fucking cool. It's a whole
the guy in
thing.
Costume, like having the time of his fucking life.
Yeah. And
oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And then they, after 20 seconds of him doing that, they go back to the movie.
It's like, he's like, murder me.
I go to the bathroom during the showing and I walk out and Krampus is out there spanking girl's butt with one of his weapons.
Shut the fuck up.
No it's so funny. And people are taking pictures and it's hilarious. Then I stand in line and then a few minutes later, he's next to me in line. I go, Krampus, having a good night. He's like, and Krampus literally goes, yeah, just drinking my beer, having a good time. I was like, hell yeah, Krampus.
Oh
hell
my God.
So yeah, I love this tradition that we have over here, and Krampus
I'm gonna have
is
to
absolutely.
Go one year. We'll have to
you don't, yeah, please come visit. It's again, Krampus is just one of those ridiculous Christmas cult classics that I only discovered. I think Jeff, you and I discovered 3 or 4 years ago, maybe the height of COVID, where we're just like, just give me movies to watch. I think I saw a thing on Reddit about it, and we're like, hey, fuck it, let's watch it. And it's absolutely.
Check out our commentary on it.
Yeah, fun, just fun, great cast, just fun,
God, yeah.
mindless, ridiculous movie. And then of course, movie that I'm probably going to watch 20 times between Thanksgiving and Christmas, Muppets Christmas Carol, which is still to come on my
commentary on that too.
Like the lamp with the rat. Just I could watch this movie every single day from Thanksgiving to Christmas. So I don't need to say much about it because we've talked about it, and it still has going to come on my top 100. But just that movie makes me happy every single time I watch it.
There's a season to be jolly and joyous.
Fa-la-la.
Krampus.
Hold
one
on.
thing I'll say
Hold
about
on.
that.
Really quick.
Oh yeah, you got to.
There it is.
Who
got a
did
sweater.
not die?
Who did not die?
God, people just know you to get good gifts for you. One thing I'll say about Krampus, go check out our commentary because as fun and campy as that movie is, the ending of it actually really makes you think, and it can be interpreted. Yeah, it can be interpreted several different ways, and I think Cycla and I, at the end of it, spent 7 minutes just saying what our theories were about what actually happened. It's pretty. I don't think we expected to have that big of a discussion at the end of Krampus.
No.
We don't have the
a
same
blind
type of discussion,
watch, right?
I think so. We don't have the same discussion at the end of Muppet Christmas Carol, though. I don't think
We should, though.
Absolutely.
We should, if you really
Missed
think
opportunity. Missed opportunity.
All right, Krampus and Muppet Christmas Carol, both classics, absolute classics. All right, let me talk about two things. One really quick, and then one maybe cycling I'll talk about, and then I'm totally done. I saw the movie We Live in Time, starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. When I saw the trailer for this, I was thinking, all right, Oscar contender for sure. When I watched it, I was thinking Brosker contender for sure.
That good, huh?
I don't think it's stuffy enough for the Oscars, and I mean that as a compliment. It's interesting because it's not a romantic comedy; it's a romantic movie with, I mean, pretty heavy and harrowing subject matter. This is in the trailer, so I won't spoil it. But essentially, Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh meet and fall in love because she accidentally hit him with her car, which I told my wife I love because Back to the Future nod right there. They have like kind of an up and down relationship, and they end up having a kid. And the movie, one thing I didn't like, really like jumps back and forth timeline wise, which gets a little bit confusing. But it deals with Florence Pugh gets diagnosed with cancer, ovarian cancer, and so they have to kind of deal with that, with her having it at a young age, and dealing with her possible mortality. But I mean, talk about two great actors, like just a tour de force with awesome chemistry. I really loved it. Obviously, the subject matter is sad and makes you think about a lot of things that sometimes you want to watch movies to actually escape thinking about. So just keep that in mind when you go to see it. But the wife and I watched it. She was bawling her eyes out the whole time. I was holding back tears. Just two actors who I love. Really good, well put together movie that, we get about one of these every year. And when we do, I try to make sure that I put aside time for them. I know here on the podcast, we watch a lot of stupid shit, which will never change. But every once in a while, it's good to watch something like this that's like a real piece of film, that's put together well, thoughtful, and has subject matter that we can relate to. So I really recommend it, but know what you're getting into when you watch it. It's not going to be like the happiest movie. That's not a spoiler as to what happens, but throughout it, it's like real human shit that they're dealing with. And of course, they're great actors, so you're really buying everything that's happening on screen.
Yeah, just on the cast alone, it seems worth it.
Yeah. I had to watch it at my local library because I think it's still in theaters, but it's also for rent on digital. But when I looked at it on Amazon, it was $24.99, and I said no. So went to my local library and rented it. But I highly recommend.
Yeah, I think I did not know much about it at all.
Yeah, check out the trailer. I think the second best trailer of the year for me. The first one is Past Lives, which that movie actually ended up sucking ball sacks. And also Here with Tom Hanks had a really good trailer, although I've heard that's awful as well. But this was probably my second best trailer of the year. Really good one. Last thing I watched that I know Cycly has seen as well is Smile 2. Cycly, do you want to go first on this?
Yeah,
you watched it pretty recently, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you go ahead.
All right, my review of Smile 2 is it's a wet one.
So it's about like the trailer?
I love the trailer, actually. And I think as time has gone on, I've romanticized Smile 1 more than I actually liked it. Although there were definitely moments that I thought were really cool. And Cycling and I both agreed the viral marketing to Smile 1 is iconic.
Oh, by far.
Some of the best I've ever seen. Smile 2, man, really cool opening scene. Not the best scene, but definitely set the tone. As we were getting into it, I was once again live texting Cycly, and it's just the same concept repeated over and over. And while I think the conceit of setting it around a pop star who is kind of running from this curse is cool, I don't find the curse itself interesting. And like everything that happens, we're constantly dealing with this unreliable narrator to where like we might have a 20-minute section of the movie that we're watching that then we find out after literally 15 or 20 minutes didn't actually happen. And that to me wasn't scary. It just got a little bit frustrating. So I don't know. I was hoping I would like this, but this is like one of my biggest disappointments of the year. And I know I'm kind of in the minority in that from stuff I'm reading, but it's just nothing about it worked for me at all. How about you, Cycly?
Yeah, I definitely liked it more than you. I didn't love it. I adore Smile 1, and especially, well, outside of the marketing that we talked about, Smile 1 had just like, I think we talked about Smile 1 was intended to be just like a straight streaming. And you can tell within the budget, and then they market it with test audiences, and they realize, oh, people actually like really love this, and they put it in theaters. And I think that's what made Smile 1 so good, was just how like raw it was. Like it just like you feel uncomfortable that whole movie, even if you don't buy into the concept of like the demon or the curse. It's just like the movie is inherently uncomfortable. So Smile 2, I was excited about because I'm like, oh, okay, you're gonna do something and now have a budget behind it and a good cast. So the compliments I'll say to the film are exactly that. Naomi Scott, I thought, was brilliant in this film. Like
she was awesome.
She was incredible the whole time, even in the scenes that don't land in terms of the story. Like
I like
she
her
is
as an actress. I think she's really
yeah,
good.
I do too. And this really showed her range,
Same.
in my opinion. I haven't seen her and stuff like that. I thought the budget, like the production of the quality of the movie itself was well done. Definitely unsettling at parts. But to your point, like I feel like, I think someone can make the same argument like the Saw movies, why there are 7 of them and it's like the same thing. I would say the same thing with Smile. Like for some people it hits and some people it doesn't. I think it's like this kind of curse. It's like the movie It Follows as well. It's like, you're either going to buy into it or you're not, and there's not much else you can do with it. And so kind of goes back to what I said about Gladiator. Did we need a second one? Probably not. Then Smile would have probably been like this like kind of iconic classic cult classic movie that was low budget with brilliant marketing. I was excited to see what they would do with a bigger budget. I'm pretty sure they're already working on a third one. I like the concept of her being a pop star dealing with trauma and how the way we treat celebrities sometimes in this country, especially like Chappell Roan has been talking about and things like that. It's like we look at these people losing it, like how do you that kind of concept played for me. But overall, I found this movie not scary because I've already seen it before. I found the whole movie, like I was already questioning everything because of the first movie, like what's real, what's not. And at some point it takes you out of the film because you just like don't want to believe anything. I still had a good time watching it. I didn't hate it by any means. It probably won't, in a few years from now, I probably won't stand anywhere in my brain. Like it didn't warrant any like memorable moments. But yeah, I didn't hate it. And I would say if you're watching it for free, it's worth it, which is, I'm glad now I waited till it was out on streaming. I'm glad I didn't spend the money to watch it, but I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it like you did, but I think it could go either way. And I see why people liked it too. It's one of those horror films that really depends on your type of what you enjoy in horror.
Yeah. Having said all that, the way that it ends is kind of intriguing for sequel potential, I will say.
I did like the end. I mean, outside of everything it built up.
Assuming
I thought the way
that actually happened. Like, I don't know.
Right. Could you imagine being in that audience? You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, like, where do we draw the line here? What's fake? Yeah. All right. That is all that I got. Banner. Anything else you want to talk about?
No. I think I'm good. I can save these for later.
Cycly, how about you?
No, I have a couple more, but nothing of importance. Can I just say really quickly to Smile too, Jeff, we made a point this year of talking about how good of a year on horror it was. And I think it's attributed to how good this year was on horror that Smile 2 doesn't even maybe make. I know you hated it, but even for me who didn't mind it, doesn't even probably crack the top 5, top 7. We're talking about 10 to 12 horror movies that came out this year. What a year. We'll talk about that on a recap in 2024, but what a year for horror and Smile. That's a compliment to the movies that we got. That Smile's not even in the maybe top half.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't give it a Brosker nom for best horror movie, and I hate to spoil what we have, but I'm going to read out what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 nominations for best horror movie. And you tell me if you think Smile 2 should replace any of these. Late Night with the Devil.
Nope.
Abigail.
Nope.
A Quiet Place Day 1.
Haven't seen that. That's the one I haven't seen. So yes, replace it immediately.
The Strangers Chapter 1.
I think it's on par, but I think that's the one.
That's the close one.
That's the closest.
Okay. And the other one is The First Omen, which it's not going to beat that out.
Which is definitely. And the only reason I would say The First Strangers is because it's the complaints I have for both are the same. Like, not as scary, repeating itself. But still, testament to the year we got in horror.
Yeah, but see, for me, that's close. I agree. I'd have to think about it. But I don't think I would right now edge it out. I think this one of these movies, the more I sit on it, it's going to move up or down somehow, even though it was not very highly ranked by me anyway. I just need to see how it digests with me.
If it wasn't for Naomi Scott, I think I would feel like you did. I think she really helped entertain the film. Yeah. Sorry to keep going on smile, but yes, I'm done. It's good.
All right. That noise is trying to say, do you even lift bra? Which takes us to the last part of our show, the question and answer segment portion. Today's question is, what are the Bros' top 100 movies of all time? The list is ongoing. We've been doing this for about 2 years. It's linked at the top of our website at bro4squad.com. Linked in the description of this episode. Before we dive into the countdown, we're going to have Banner do 2 of his tonight. And maybe we'll stop it right there. Before we get into that, Cycly, why don't you tell the people at home what these top 100 lists are? Because we're not film students. We don't claim to be. We're drunk half the time we do this podcast. So it's a little bit of a
You're drunk half the time we do the podcast. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
That's what you just said.
That's what you just said, dude. Come on. This top 100 list is it's not our 100 movies that we think are the greatest movies of all time. It's the movies that make us happy. It's the movies that we revisit. It's the movies that we hold true to ourselves, and it can be anything you want, and there's no excuse you have to give. Again, I always say Banner's list exactly proves the point because it makes absolutely no sense, but it is his through and through. And I think it's an activity that everyone who loves movies should do because it's really fun to think about some of the movies you've seen, some of the movies that have made an impact on you and maybe good and bad times in your life.
Yeah, and it makes you go back and think about a movie that you've seen and you're like, fuck, that was actually really fucking good. And you just keep moving it up and moving it up and moving it up. And that's how you get the Jumanji reboot in your top 100.
Is that how it happened?
Yeah, it was just I just had a fucking blast when I watched it, and it just kept on fucking moving up the goddamn list.
Yeah, you don't have to explain it; it's your list. That's
exactly. Exactly.
As a lawyer of the pod, I'm going to say, the opinions given by Banner do not necessarily reflect those Bro4 Squad.
Without express written consent of Major League Baseball. All right, so the top 100 list countdown. We're getting into serious fucking territory. Like. On my list, I have seen over 1,400 movies in my life that I have ranked. And so now we're in the top 34. So this is, I'm not a math guy, but we're getting to the fucking nitty gritty. Banner, where we last left,
thinking about it.
Yeah, there's a whole life's worth of rankings here. Banner, where we last left you off, your number 35 favorite movie or best movie of all time, however you want to say it, was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2. Great inclusion. Cycly had Super Troopers. Is that right?
What?
Yeah, this is a mistake here.
No, I think I do have Super Troopers up
Super
high,
Troopers?
But at what?
35. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay, I was pretty high up there.
I just saw Super Troopers recently. Did we talk?
Did Jeff just freeze for you, Banner?
Yeah, for half a second. He's frozen in time.
He said for half a second, but I'm like, but he's still frozen.
There you go.
Hey, he's back.
Okay, are we back?
Back.
Yeah, we're back. What was the last thing you heard me say? The episode
that you love
be affected
dick.
In the slightest.
That you love sucking dick.
Okay, I mean, we're saying that, yeah.
That escalated.
Was there any content?
None.
Okay, you're muted again, I think. So the last thing I think I said was I recently saw Super Troopers, but I couldn't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or if it was an off-pod conversation.
Might have been off pod. I can't remember that.
Recently saw it again. Okay. It's not in my top 100, but it moved up quite a bit. I have so many comedies that it's just hard for it to jump in there.
Yeah, the quotability was why it's so high for me.
Yeah. All right. So Cycly has Super Troopers. Banner had Spider-Man 2. I had the movie 10 Years, which I still think has one of the greatest sleeper casts of all time. Banner, what is your number 34? Because Cycly's is Amadeus, and mine is the 1989 Tim Burton Batman.
Ooh. My number 34 movie is the Pixar movie Soul.
Wow.
This movie, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's in the timing that it came out. It came out right around Christmas and New Year's of 2020. So pandemic still at the height of it. Everything was fucking weird. And this was a kind of out there movie, but it all made sense and it was still relatable at the same time. It kind of makes you face your own mortality, but you're still living. I don't know. It was a weird concept, but it all made sense. And it was super, I think it was just super relatable at the time. And it kind of just made you had a lot of time on your hands during the pandemic to think about things. And this movie kind of helped you think about it.
Leave it to Pixar to take like a really, really serious topic and find a way to present it both to kids and adults in a way that you're like, you know what? That's something that I think we can talk about. Like it doesn't feel like the end of the world or some unbroachable subject.
Yeah, I think this movie is very underrated because it did not get a theatrical release. It didn't get marketed. It just got kind of dropped on Disney Plus because they had to.
So I think Pixar that year actually had two movies fall victim to this. I vividly remember seeing Onward in theaters.
God, yes. Onward's fucking great too.
But this was literally a week before like Earth shut down. I was the only person in the theater. I was already scared to go. I had a mask on, even though no one was anywhere near me because we didn't really know what the situation was with COVID. And I feel like Onward got cheated out of, like maybe a lot of credit and praise because it came out at this really nebulous time for movie theaters. But I don't even think Onward, if it got a Disney Plus release, it was just sooner. It didn't get like a day and date or anything at the time.
No, it was everything shut down, and I think they just dropped it on Disney Plus like 2 weeks later.
What a weird time.
Yeah.
So weird.
Why don't they do that now? Man, I'd save so much money.
I like Soul. It didn't resonate with me quite that way, but I definitely can see why. I mean, the subject matter alone and the way that they approach it is pretty genius.
And I thought Jamie Foxx was amazing as Joe. I don't know. There's something about his voice that he just spoke to me.
Cycly, what'd you say about the ending?
Oh, sorry. That I do. What I do remember about this film is the last like 15 minutes being like really emotional, like just really hitting, like the way a Pixar movie can do sometimes. Yeah. And it might be worth a revisit. I honestly hadn't even thought about this movie since that time.
Yeah, I really haven't either. Tina Fey is in it, right? She's like the voice of something in the other world. Yeah,
she's like the soul.
Or the cat.
Yeah, she gets put into. Yeah, she's 22, I think. Yeah, 22. So she's like the 22nd soul that should have gone to the great beyond. But she hasn't because she's scared.
That's right. She's like delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
Great entry. All right, Banner, let's get your number, what is this, 33. Cycly's was, and I'm actually surprised this movie is that low. Not an insult to the film at all, but I thought this was going to be in Cycly's top 5. Cycly's was Fight Club. And mine
movie.
Mine was Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So what will be joining them at number 33 on your list?
So, again, guys, I just want to make sure everybody understands. This is my top 100. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. Love when he prefaces.
Here comes Suburbicon.
I am not saying I am. I just threw up a little in my mouth because I hate that movie so much. I'm by no means saying this is a good movie. This is one of those movies that should not be sniffing a top 100 list of any sort.
And it's in
But
your top third.
But I
That's why I love- that's why we're
particularly love
here.
this movie, and this movie, like, if you guys know me, this movie like set me on this trajectory of where I ended up. That's Deep Blue Sea. We've done a movie
You've been
commentary
talking
on
about
this
this movie forever.
This
No one on this
movie,
pod's going to say a bad word about Deep Blue Sea.
this was the first rated R movie that I ever saw in theaters. I was so scared. I spent 30 minutes in the bathroom because I was fucking terrified. Okay.
But you're on land.
I know. It was
You're safe.
it scared the shit out of me. Obviously I was scared of sharks after that for a long time, which is, I know, to think
That's
about
wild.
now. Like, if you know me, that is insane to say. But
Yeah.
I was terrified of sharks for a few years after this movie. But it was the first rated R movie I ever saw in the theaters. So it deserves to be on this list. Very core memory. And again, with what I kind of did for a career for quite a long time, it really is. It means a lot.
I mean, super fun film. Our movie commentary on this, one of our earlier ones, probably in the first year of the pod, had a blast.
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
I definitely pushed for this. I think it was in my original contract. I said I will only do this pod if we do a commentary on this in the first, 60 days or something.
Absolutely. Geiger walked around with his hair bleached blonde like Thomas Jane for about a year after this, and he just
Without
wore
shoes.
he wore a wetsuit. That's the weirdest thing about Thomas Jane. I forgot about that. Jesus Christ. Wore a wetsuit everywhere he went. It was super bizarre. LL Cool J as the chef. I mean, can't beat that.
No. But and the
So
fucking
dumb.
parrot.
Yeah, none of it makes any fucking sense.
The speech that Samuel Jackson is giving, and then he gets fucking eaten in half with a shark.
That is no joke. That is an iconic cinema scene.
It is. It is.
Gotta pay its respects. Great addition.
Thank you.
Deep Blue Sea. All right. Are you guys cool just ending there for tonight? We'll keep people in suspense about our Cycling Minds number 32 and yours.
I'm good with it.
All right. Before we let the people go for episode 232, Cycling, give the people some really bad advice.
Watch Banner's top 100 movies.
Hey, there's some like not that bad ones on there.
Are there?
There's some, yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Go revisit Soul and then we'll talk.
Fine deal. I actually do
what'll
want to
be-
rewatch that again because I was like,
You know
wow, I
what'll be-
forgot about that movie.
Well, you know what'll be a fun game when we're done is we can just like randomly we'll put like, numbers, I don't know, 20 through 100 in a hat or like on a randomizer. We'll pick one and I'll read the top 100 movies and we'll have to guess whose is whose.
that would be hard except for Banner's ones. We're like, oh, that's a Banner.
Yeah, banners will be like Lego Gilgamesh, Lord of the Rings spinoff.
I don't think I have any
Yeah.
Lego ones in there. I might have a Lego one in here.
I might have 5 actually now that I think about it.
Yeah.
None in the top 50 though. I mean, we're not animals.
Okay, a couple of the top 50. Just
I'm
a
not
few.
discussing.
I'm human, so fucking sue me. Banner, how about you? What advice do you have?
Look, guys, it's the holiday season. Unfortunately, that's when the weather starts to sometimes turn bad. So let's just make sure we're pulling over for those emergency vehicles. Let's give them a clear path. You never know. It's getting cold out. Maybe you left the space heater on and your house caught on fire. You want the fucking fireman to get there and put that fire out, right?
You do.
Absolutely.
Pull over.
Great advice as always. I actually have a new thing that I want to rant about, and I think this might, in perpetuity, replace the getting a smart haircut. Do any of you guys have a Ring doorbell?
Used to.
I do.
I need one now that my flag was stolen.
I say you had shit stolen from your house. So we have a Ring doorbell. Our neighborhood that we live in, unfortunately, because I've seen some incredible posts on these from friends. Unfortunately, our neighborhood doesn't have a Facebook group. So what we have that we communicate with our neighbors with is the Ring app, the Ring doorbell app. And recently, over the past month or so, my wife can testify to this. I have been getting irrationally angry at the stupid shit that people think they're supposed to be posting in here. So let me read you what was posted in here 2 hours ago before I got on.
I'm
you
excited for this.
How this is productive. First off, 90% of these posts end with the phrase, anyone know what happened? Which is like, what the fuck? I probably know everything you know. Here's what was posted 2 hours ago. Saw someone handcuffed getting walked into a police car while another person was getting put into an ambulance. Anyone know what happened?
Yeah, let me tell you.
Dude, you know what you need to start doing is just reply, like making some shit up and replying.
Dude, so now
literally make up like a ridiculous story.
Well, this is even better. The rest of the Ring app is as sick of this shit as I am. Because here's the first comment. So the first person says, after anyone know what happened, the person said, arrested and another person was put into an ambulance. Next person, Banner, this is you. They probably committed a crime. I am just guessing. Third person, crime and injury, probably. Fourth person, I saw a lady walking a dog. I don't know if the lady belonged to the dog.
Wait, the lady belongs to the dog, not the dog belonged with the lady?
Someone got arrested. Fifth person, sounds like someone was detained or arrested. Sixth person, someone is in trouble and somebody is getting help.
There's hope in this world. The posts
Luckily,
like that,
I'm not alone.
yeah, comments like that makes me believe in the world.
Here's the last one. I believe a civilian got caught breaking the law, so the police officer arrested them. Anyway, don't post stupid shit in the Ring. It's buyblacket.com. Lots of cool apparel, stuff you can buy your friends, family for Christmas. They have a lot of beer-centric merchandise, which I know we really like here on the podcast. And 15% off discount code. Sweet little carrot at checkout. You can find us on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, everywhere you find social media shit at Broforce Squad. We're on Letterboxd, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Broforce Squad as 3 separate words, and check out everything we've ever posted on our website, broforcesquad.com. Till next time, we'll see you at the movies or on the Ring app.